Hello, and welcome to Birthing Beyond Borders, a podcast where we share the stories of migrant moms from around the world. From sleepless nights to moments of joy, we'll be diving into the real, raw, and inspiring journeys of motherhood. Get ready to laugh, learn, and experience a range of emotions while being inspired. I am your host, Adejumoke Olopade, and together we'll uncover the challenges, celebrate the wins, and honor the wisdom mothers carry across borders. Welcome to our community space. In this episode, I have with me Elizabeth, who's a Nigerian immigrant and a mom to a beautiful 7-month-old baby girl. Elizabeth, welcome to the Birthing Beyond Borders podcast.
Thank you so much, Jumoke. I'm glad to be here to help out.
Thank you. Thank you again for accepting the invitation. I'd like to get us started by learning a little bit about you. So, who is Elizabeth? We know you're from Nigeria. What brought you to the US? How long have you lived in the US for? And, feel free to share whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. Just like you said, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm originally from Nigeria, and I've been in the US for about 4 years now. I got into the US in January 2021. I think, yes. And I came here mainly for better opportunities for my master's degree in public health at the University of Illinois at Springfield, and also to continue to build my career and life all together. And that is why I came to the US. Currently, I'm a public health professional analyst and a project manager. And I'm a mother to a beautiful girl named Tiwi, like Jumoke has mentioned. And I think that is it.
So thank you so much for sharing that background with us. I always ask my guest one question. What is your favorite thing about living in the US?
The US is quite different from Nigeria, especially in terms of the food. If it was in Nigeria, I would have said, probably food, the lifestyle, But it's quite calm. The opportunity to build your family, like it's me, my husband, and my baby. Currently we are in North Carolina, and it's just the three of us, and so it's like building that family in an enclosed space together. I think that is it.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, now let's talk about pregnancy and childbirth experience. Can you take us back to the moment where you found out you were pregnant? What did that feel like?
Okay, so that moment, it was a joyful moment. Like even getting pregnant, being able to get pregnant when you want, like it was planned.
Mhm.
Myself and my husband, we were married. So we got married in July of 2022. Of 2023, sorry, my bad. Of July of 2023. And, for us, it was like, we need to still build our career, get to, love up and all of that before we think of having a child. But then as we're at the back of our mind, we were also looking at our age. Like, okay, we are getting older, so it's time for us. We need to still, have that at the back of our mind. And getting pregnant, I got pregnant first in March. It was, we had a miscarriage. So it was planned anyways, like, okay, we are ready to, start. So it was from that January of 2024 that we started talking about us getting pregnant and, expanding our family and having children. So luckily for us, the whole plan, we got pregnant in March, and unfortunately, we had a miscarriage. But then I got pregnant again in June of the same year of 2024. And it was such a joy for me. I could remember when I told my husband that, okay, I think it was planned. So we were, that 2 weeks, there's always a 2 weeks time frame that, you need to check. So I think within that 2 weeks, it was like, okay, we kept on checking every day, and then it happened. So we were so happy. And I remember feeling both excited and nervous because of what happened earlier with the miscarriage.
Yeah.
And also, it was also my first time. So I think that was it. We were just very nervous, joyful, excited that this happened within a short period of time, getting pregnant and then having a miscarriage in April and then getting pregnant again in June. And so it was, the journey overall was good, like the journey to planning to conception itself. And I was very intentional, myself and my husband anyways, we were very intentional about staying healthy and also keeping up with I think that is it, like keeping up with our so the first time we had a miscarriage, we were opportune to find an OBGYN, a very good OBGYN. And so I kept on with the appointment with her, like
Okay.
continue to speak with her to ensure that we were I was updated with, I was in line with everything she wanted us to do, which comes to, the way you feed your body
Mhm.
when it comes to pregnancy. So I think we're just excited. We prepared a lot by reading. I was talking to a doctor in the US. So everything my OB says, I had to like go back to speak to, that is the right thing to do. It wasn't like I didn't trust my OB. Well, it was just, double checking and double. Uh, yeah, I think that is like.
But I'm so glad that you got pregnant like a few months after that. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for you and your husband. You kind of touched a little bit on my next question. I wanted to, talk about how did you prepare for the journey ahead? You said something about like researching information and reading a bunch of stuff, but like how did you and your husband prepare for the journey ahead? What made it easy and what made it difficult?
I think the first thing is when it comes to pregnancy, for me, I feel like pregnancy in itself is a journey that you need a partner, like it's a journey that I don't believe women should walk through alone. So when it comes to preparation, it was all the time it was myself and my husband. And like I said, we did a lot of reading, a lot of researching in terms of food that we need to eat, in terms of staying so clean to ourselves, even in terms of when we finally get pregnant, when it comes to my work, because I work with a reputable company and I didn't know exactly, this is my first time of getting pregnant in the US, how that would affect my work, my career, and all of that. So it was a whole lot of researching on different aspects of pregnancy in itself. And also having a good support system also helped me. So in terms of that, the planning was if I if we do get pregnant and then finally have the baby, what type of support system do we need? Like, is there, because being in the US, like I said earlier, it's myself, my husband, and my family where we are currently. So it's like we do not have a lot of community around. So, and pregnancy and having a child in itself, it takes a whole lot of work. It could put a strain on your relationship, even as a family. So that was part of the preparation we did to ensure that we had. When the baby comes, we had a lot of people, family members that could actually come around to help us, to help that as well.
And I guess in terms of like culture, what cultural practices did you follow? As Nigerians, there are times where, there are like cultural practices, they'll say, oh, if you're pregnant, don't cross over gutter.
Do this.
Don't do
Don't do that. Don't do
this.
that.
Were there cultural practices that you followed throughout your pregnancy?
Even as a Nigerian, as a tradition, because I would consider that we that are not Americans, that we are not Americans. Most of us are. We would say we are traditionally cultured people. So I would say there are a lot of cultural, information that I got when I was pregnant, especially with me being in the US and most of our families back home. You call them and they say, "Oh, don't do this. Oh, don't work at night.
Mhm.
Don't add a pin on your clothes." That is to ward off probably evil spirit or something. They say, "Oh, don't work at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. It's too sunny. A pregnant woman should not, do all of these things." So there are a lot of, even when it comes down to food.
Mhm.
Oh, they say don't eat any food that is drawing, which is like okra, like
Mhm.
they say don't do this. I think I did not eat. Oh, they say don't eat snails.
Oh,
So there are a lot of foods that you like. They say, oh yeah, don't eat
yeah,
snails.
that one.
Yeah, don't eat snails. Don't eat this particular type of. So those are, I think, the cultural practices that are so different from what you have in the US. My doctor says, oh, eat everything except uncooked food.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
And for us, it is as a Nigerian, it's not just uncooked food. It's a whole lot of different foods that you can't eat.
Mhm.
A whole lot of things that you can do just to ensure that the baby is, healthy. And I think one of the things that was a little bit difficult for me especially when it comes to food, is eating plantains. So they say don't eat plantains. There's something that affects a child when the child comes and the thing actually makes the child cries, and that comes from eating plantain. But I ate a lot of plantain.
And that's we cry.
No, I really did not cry. But she did have the stuff that they said she was going to have, which is there's a line in front of her head. Yes, it came from eating the plantain because I was told before. Yeah, yeah. So it is one of those cultural practices that, as a Nigerian that you do. They say you're not supposed to do it. I don't think that has ever been my OBGYN never mentioned that.
Mhm.
I've never heard anyone mention that to Americans or anything. But then it was mentioned to me as a Nigerian, and those are cultural practices that we also have that I couldn't abstain from everything, just like I said, but those are some of the cultural practices. It's the not going out, not eating this, don't be in loud in noisy area. Like that was going to affect the child. The child is, in an place. But those are cultural practices. Those are the beliefs that we have as Nigerians. That's that is very different from what. So I also had to incorporate some of the. Sometimes you're like, oh, we are in the Western world. We don't want to, bring everything from Nigeria down to. But still, sometimes you still have to, adhere to some of the things. Yeah.
I think that as Nigerians or Africans in general, especially when we're living here in the US, it can be very challenging navigating, the new norm, but also
Mm-hmm.
not forgetting home and also just being respectful of like our family or our parents' wishes. I can
Yeah.
imagine your mom calling you to say, ah, Elizabeth, for
Yeah.
those who don't understand, but this is what you need to do. But if your doctor is saying you don't need to do that, you're fine. So find balance. Yeah,
There
yeah.
are a lot of things when it even comes to even the medications, like
Mm-hmm.
medications that you have to use or the vaccines that you have to take,
Right.
or a whole lot of other things that, that came across like doing or not doing. And that was why I said anytime my doctor says something, in as much as I want to really follow through what my doctor is saying, I still have to go back to my friend who is a medical doctor here in the US, yeah, to check in to ensure that okay, so as a Nigerian, as a black woman who is a Nigerian, are these things because she's Nigerian as well?
Mm-hmm.
Are these the things that I can do or cannot do? My doctor said this.
Mm-hmm.
My doctor said do this or use this, and do you think it is something that I have to use?
Mm-hmm.
So good. So I think it's finding the balance.
Yeah.
Being able to the balance between the two words, and also maintaining, having an healthy child.
Right, right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I want to talk about like healthcare providers and the impacts, that they had on your pregnancy journey and your childbirth experience. Were there any moments where you felt like very supported by your healthcare provider? And on the flip side, were there times where you felt unseen or unsupported?
Yes. Okay. So for that, my OBGYN, she played a very big role in making my pregnancy journey a very positive experience. She was just there. So, like I said, I had a miscarriage earlier. So at first I had an OBGYN who was a man. But anytime it wasn't because it was a man, you understand. I had no
Right.
problem with having a male healthcare provider. It's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like some things were lacking. Like I wasn't
Mm.
feeling the care. I wasn't feeling, there's deep like when you're pregnant, especially when you look back at Nigeria, like, oh, your doctor is like your paddy, like you can call your doctor at 10 p.m. Oh, the baby is feeling like this. Oh, but then it feels too professional for me. Like
Mm.
when I was with the man, like it was just very, very professional. It was, oh, come in, oh, you are bleeding, oh, like, and that is it. Like there is no form of communication of feeling of empathy, of, oh, okay, I need to go and see my doctor. I should get excited because, I want to have a detailed discussion with my OBGYN. But upon getting pregnant with Tiwi, with my baby, I switched my OBGYN and luckily I found, oh my God, I found a wonderful OBGYN. Like she was very supportive. I even think she went to read more about Nigeria, Africa,
Oh, wow.
and things like that. Yeah. So before I come, she says, "Oh, I know that in Africa or in Nigeria, this and this and this and this are the things that you'd look out for." Then she says things like, "Oh, I know that this is prevalent in the US, but as an African, mother, I don't think you have any issues with, things like this. So yeah, she made it really, she took her time to listen. She really took her time to listen. She was calm, patient. She calls me. There was a time I had a result from one of my tests that I did. She had to call around 8 p.m. in the night. That is not done anyway. But she was just,
Mhm.
she felt like a family. She
Mm. Mhm.
felt like a family, probably because she knew that I had a miscarriage earlier, and she was just trying to find that balance to ensure that I enjoyed this pregnancy. And she was also trying to reinforce positivity to just because
Mhm.
I was really scared. The first trimester, I was really scared. I was always watching out for the littlest thing, like the
Yeah.
smallest thing, which is more like bleeding or anything. Oh, little bleed like this, I'm panicking, and all of that. But then my entire experience when it comes to pregnant, I've heard friends say, "Oh, no, the OBGYN is this, my dear OBGYN." But for me, she was really supportive. Like even till after I was there last week, and immediately she saw me. She saw me, and we were done with um what I went for her to her for. She carried TV and she took her out. She just told me, oh, can she take TV out like to all the other healthcare providers? And they were all like, giggling and playing and then she felt like family. I think that
Mhm.
experience, for me, it just made me feel like I was at home. It made me feel like, oh yes, this is not totally different from Nigeria. But then that is for the healthcare provider. Now, for healthcare within the US itself, it's a totally different, um, totally different experience.
Mm. How do you mean?
Okay, so when I mean it just comes down to, like I said earlier, that in Nigeria you have almost all the information at the tip of your finger. Yes, I would say the US has, in terms of technology and facilities, they have advanced technologies, advanced facilities, and things like that. But if it can feel very system driven,
Mm.
it feels like a textbook. Oh, you need to do
Mhm.
do this. Like it is system driven. It is one way. Now you have
Mm.
to take the time to advocate for yourself as a Nigerian. They believe that you should know everything. So there are a lot of things I read online. Oh, it won't, once you are this month, you should do this, you should do that. Ask your provider. In Nigeria, from what I believe, your provider will tell you, they will tell you everything that you need to do. Now, I'm a first time mom. They believe I should know everything. So if I do not ask, then no one is going to say anything. So, and that way, you have to just be proactive yourself. It's different from when you have a personal relationship with your provider back home, that they just tell you everything. They tell you, don't eat this or don't do that. Oh, this is the time you start planning for have you gotten your child's clothes? Have you gotten they discuss everything. They talk about everything, even with the general healthcare. But here you have to ask. If you do not ask, you have to be intentional about finding someone that genuinely listens. Even though my OBGYN listens, but also she has other patients that she has to see. So it's you asking more questions. It is me asking, oh, this month, I can I eat this, or can I? It is just something that you have to like ask yourself. So you see something online, you have to go ask, and that is when they tell you, oh, that's true, you have to do it. Like, you should tell me before I come to ask.
Mm. Mm. I understand what you're saying.
You
Yeah.
Yes, you can't just assume that everybody like knows this thing. This is, it is too system driven. It is one way, and they believe that everybody needs to know that way. So I think they need to create more, how should I put it, more resources for people who are not American,
Mhm.
like for international, like,
Yeah.
they should also not assume that everybody knows that right information. It is, even though I researched a whole lot, I read, but there are still some things that, I see online, because my whole social media algorithm is all about pregnancy and women and
Mhm. Mhm.
everything. So I just keep on going back to my doctor. Anything I say, I go back to ask.
Mhm.
So imagine me not having a doctor that listens, then I won't be able to get a whole lot of information
Mhm.
on what type of medications can you use when you are pregnant.
Mhm.
So I had to. at that point, at the point I had cough when I was pregnant, but they would say don't use any medications, but I need to use something.
Right.
So I had to ask and if you know the US, like if you know the healthcare system in the US very well, you cannot just pick up your call or say you want an appointment today. So if you want to see your doctor, it might be in the next 2-3 weeks. Imagine you being pregnant and you need a solution, like an instant solution. You can't just ask your doctor, you understand. So I believe that some of this information should be given beforehand, like
Like
immediately we are
trial.
pregnant, they send you, prior, like, okay, these are all the medications you can use, these are all, for cough, for cold, for like, just make a list of everything. And so I had to request before I was then sent a particular information to say, okay, these are all the medications that you can't wait for people to request that. It should already be in the system to say these are the things you can use or not.
Yeah, you raised such great points. And first, I wanted to say that like when you were talking about your provider, like researching things about Nigeria, that got me very excited. Because I think that healthcare providers, especially healthcare providers that are providing care to non-Americans, so immigrants, refugees,
Yeah,
should put in the work in learning about their patients, like their culture. What are
yeah,
some cultural things that they need from healthcare centers? And I agree with you 100%. Like you said, appointments sometimes can take 3 weeks. Even when
true.
you have like things like my chat and you can
Yeah,
send an email, sometimes it might take a whole day or 2 days before you get a response back. So like healthcare providers being proactive and sending you a list of medicines that you can use that is safe to use during pregnancy, and all those like
yeah.
common conditions that spring up,
Mhm.
like a common cold that happens to everybody. So like get ahead of those things. So I
So now, when you even mentioned my chat, yes, I use that a whole lot. But now this is the downside of my chat when it comes to a woman who is pregnant, especially for the first time, an immigrant. You send a message on my chat, and no, this is no I'm not downgrading the nursing profession. I'm thinking of going to a nursing school currently. Like I'm still thinking of that. But the people that respond to you are nurses.
Mhm.
So I had one that responded to me, and I am not a medical professional right now. I knew that that was wrong.
Mm,
So I had to tell her back through my chat to go to the doctor, and I would like the doctor to respond to me because I know what she just told me was wrong.
mm,
So that is also one of the yes, my chat was there, but I did not like. I'm pregnant for the first time. I had a miscarriage. I did not want anything to happen
mhm,
to me. So I wanted to hear directly from the doctor. That was the most challenging thing about my chat,
mm.
where you can just go in. And so if my doctor did not respond to me directly, I know I am not okay yet.
Yeah, I
I
hear you.
understand that not yeah, they know what they are doing as well. But then because of the relationship I had with my doctor, I know that she takes more time to, she understands my pregnancy journey. It's different from the
Right.
nurse. A nurse just picks it up and say, "Oh, this person." You don't know exactly what I had been using
Mhm.
or what I need at that moment. And then the doctor comes. There was one. The doctor came back and said, "She's so sorry about what the nurse said," and then she had to tell me to get something else entirely from what the doctor said. So you can see
Yeah.
how that actually changes when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think in your case, it's like you already built trust with your OB,
Yeah,
but also like your OB was very familiar with your medical history. Like the nurse might have provided a generic answer,
yeah,
but because your OB was familiar with, what you're currently using, your previous experiences, then that allowed, more answers that you could trust.
yeah.
So, and I think it also comes down to advocating for yourself, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, and I've recognized that not so many people feel comfortable doing that. And one, it's not their fault. It could
Yeah.
also be like systems that don't support, women or women that look like us advocating for themselves. So thank you so much for calling those important points out.
You're welcome.
This episode of Birthing Beyond Borders is funded by the 4W Initiative and supported by the African Center for Community Development. Please check out these two wonderful organizations. Details can be found in the description below. I want to talk a little bit about postpartum recovery and mental health. A lot of women talk about how pregnancy can be a lot,
Yes.
like physically, emotionally, and just, and then you finally have that baby.
Yes.
The moments where you held TV for the first time. How did that feel?
Oh my God, it was the It was the best feeling I've ever had. Like it's just so different from, when you go to school and then you graduate and you are happy. Like this is beyond being happy. This is just a joyful moment, deeply like, okay, this is my child. This is, the one I'm going to nurture. And so for me, postpartum was good overall. Like from the moment I had my baby, even from not from the moment I had my baby. I think it starts from the moment you're at the hospital to have your baby. So everything was so good. And holding TV was just, it's something I can't describe. It's a feeling that it's just a very happy feeling. It's a very joyful moment
Mm-hmm.
with myself and my husband. So I recovered very well, physically and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my doctor had the husband us. They were wonderful. It took. I think my delivery took just about three 2 hours, less than 2 hours,
Wow.
to have my baby. Yes. I got to the hospital and I was already 7 centimeters dilated. So it was like, oh, a rush journey. Like, oh my God, the doctor was not even around. Like they had to call the doctor. They had to like baby was already popping out before the doctor was there. So the doctor came in and just said, oh, push twice, and the baby was out. So
Mm.
it was quite very calm, very fast as well. And it's all to the glory of God, because I do consider myself someone that I was thinking, the delivery day is going to be probably for hours and hours and hours, but then God did it. So, and that actually helped me in recovering as well. Like I recovered very well, like I said, physically and emotionally. And I was also in a good place because my mom was around. My mom got into the country on the day I had my baby. So yeah, so she meant that I could rest. People say, oh,
Mhm.
postpartum, you get depressed, you get like it's a whole lot of journey. I'm so sorry. I know it's like that, but I just did not experience anything like because my mom was around. From the moment we got home, my mom took care of the baby, so it was just me taking care of myself. Even she took care of me, she was taking care of me and the baby, and that's how Nigerian mothers are. They take care of everything. So I was able to rest, and also I focused on bonding with the baby. So I had a lot of time. I had my time. I think a week after I had my baby, myself and my husband, we started going out for walks, like very early in the morning, 6 a.m. to like 8 a.m. Just by ourselves, yes. Like we'll just go because the
Just
baby
by
was there.
yourselves?
I already recovered. I didn't have any. I think I only had a very
Mm-hmm.
small amount of tear, and within a week I was fine. Like everything was, I healed perfectly, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritually as well. I also think I leaned more on my faith as well. I prayed a lot, which also helped me stay grounded and found and grateful through the transition of having a baby to having pregnancy to having a baby. So I think postpartum for me was I don't know when they
Mm-hmm.
say oh postpartum depression. It was, postpartum for me was like, oh, is this what they call postpartum? At least my mom was on for like 3 months, so I had that support, man. Like she was the biggest
Mm-hmm.
support system that I had, and she helped with basically everything, with cooking, with taking care of them. In fact, she does not want myself and my husband to touch the baby at all. Like she was just there for the baby. So even the whole baby wakes up in the night to feed. I did not wake up in the night at all for 3 months. I slept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did all the waking up. She did everything.
Wow.
It was really good for me. I think the only part that I found a little
Mm-hmm.
bit difficult was the breastfeeding the baby because my baby would not latch. And anytime she even latched, it was the most painful experience I've ever had. Like that was too painful. But she eventually did not latch, so I had to bottle feed her the breast milk. So it's the whole pumping. I think that is the only part that I only
Okay.
found stressful throughout the program because I had to pump like multiple times a day. I kept on pumping, which actually put a lot of strain, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
strain on my breast itself. Altogether. Because I had to keep on doing that. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, it was good overall for me.
So you've answered most of my follow-up question, but that's good. I wanna go back a little bit.
Okay.
You said that you were 7 centimeters dilated by the time you got to the hospital,
Yes.
and so for you, labor was like about 2 hours.
Yes.
Were there things you did to prepare for that moment?
Hmm. Jumoke, I did not. So, like I said, online, you see, oh, squat every day, eat. What was that stuff that they said you should eat?
I've
There
seen
was
people say eat
a,
dates and
yeah, eat or drink. What's the name of this tea? There's a particular tea as well that
raspberry leaf
like
tea.
bought so funniest thing was that I bought raspberry leaf tea about 3 weeks because they would say don't use it before 37 weeks. So I
Mhm.
bought it, but I did not use it. I don't know why I did not even use it. I just left it there that maybe I kept on forgetting. Oh, they said squat. I did not squat at all. I did not. The only thing I know that I thought might have helped was there's this program that we do during Hallelujah Challenge. I'm sure you must have heard about it. So
Yeah.
I had my baby in March. Hallelujah Challenge was in February. So, and it ran for about 21 days. The only sort of exercise I did was dancing. So I don't know. Probably the dancing counted as that exercise, preparing my body. But for me at that period, it was just me dancing and, praising God and all of that. So I got I was discussing with my friend the night before I had my baby that, oh, how do you even know that your baby is coming? That with my doctor friend. So we were discussing till around 12 a.m. The night of March 12th, because I had my baby March 13. I just sat in my sitting room and then we were having that discussion. How do you even know when you are contracting? Like, I don't know. I just know that my baby should come. At least I had my baby 39 weeks and 5 days. So I just know that, oh, at this period, you should be prepared. Baby can come at any time. It's almost 40 weeks. And she just told me, oh, it feels like cramping. It feels like, and I went to bed. I just woke up around 3 a.m. I felt like, oh, I think I'm cramping a little bit. What could it be? So I went to the restroom. I said, let me pee. Then I got back in bed and I said, this thing is not even, it feels like I want to poo, but I don't think I want to poo again. I was just having mixed feelings. And then I took out my phone and said, okay, maybe this is what contraction means. So let me just time it. And then when I timed it, it was about less than 1 minute apart,
Oh,
just
wow.
giggling. And then he woke. I said, go back to bed, that there's no, because I had an appointment with my OB that same day in the afternoon on the 13th. So I said, go back to bed. Whatever it is, I will go to my OB in the afternoon and then she would check and see. Then after about 20 minutes, I sat on the bed. I was waiting for it to, because I drank water. I was waiting for it to subside, like, oh, just go outside, I can go back to bed. And then my husband woke up and said, you know what, you still keep doing, like, what is the centimeters up? I said, this one looks like 30 seconds that I don't, then he said, you know what, let's go to the hospital. That was around 3:30 a.m. now. I said, no, I'm very strong-headed. I said, no, I'm going to see the OB. Then he just kept begging that. And I haven't even packed my bag. That is how, like, I was just waiting to I'm serious. I didn't even pack because we're supposed to have packed our bags. Everything was, but how we are now. It's just like when you are traveling, you wait to pack your bag till the day after, the day before you are traveling. After, even though you know that you are traveling for like 3 months. So
Mm-hmm.
thank God I listened to my husband. I just said, you know what? Okay, let's go. This is just to make him happy that because he kept on saying, let's go to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital. So I told him, pick this, go to the other room. There's one cloth I put on the hanger. Just pack everything and let's go. Immediately we got to the hospital, they opened the door and then the nurse checked. That at that period, the pain has intensified. So when they checked, they said, oh, you are 7.1 centimeters dilated. Wow, what do you mean by 7.1 centimeters dilated? And then they had to take me down to the room, I believe it's the labor room. And then the pain had intensified at that period. And I said, oh, I want an epidural because I don't know, this is way beyond and all of that. And then they checked and they said, oh, you are 8 centimeters or 8.5 centimeters dilated.
Wait.
Do you still want the epidural? So they gave me one medication, pain to just to receive, but it didn't work. And then they said the
Mm-hmm.
anesthesiologist was not in the hospital. They have to call the anesthesiologist to come. And then he came and he checked and he said, do you still want epidural? You are way dilated already. I think I was already almost at 9. I said, yes, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted that because I was like, oh my God, this is just the
Mm-hmm.
pain. Even though the pain was just for about, I can't say for about 30 minutes, but then it intensified from that 7 centimeters. But probably it was subconsciously, immediately I knew that the pain intensified. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately I got the epidural, I was already at 9 centimeters. And then they said the doctor was in an operating room with someone else. I just have to wait. But then the nurse brought a mirror just to show me the head of the baby.
Mm.
because now everybody can see the head of my baby. Baby was about to pop. But then that is what I found. I also find disturbing. I don't know if disturbing is the right word to use now. That my baby is about to come, but then I have to wait for the doctor to come to be ready before I'm able to push. Because if not for the epidural, then I would have pushed naturally myself because it's not
Mhm.
something you can hold in, if the baby wants to come. But because of the epidural, I think that delayed. I wasn't feeling any pain, so it was just like,
So you were okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
baby was just at the tip, waiting to come out because the nurse actually brought a mirror. I could see my baby's head. Everyone could see. My husband could see that. Okay, this is your baby. Your baby is just ready to come, but we need to wait for the doctor because the doctor had to do the delivery. And that is something you won't find in Nigeria. The nurse would, since the baby is already about to just push and then the baby comes out. So now you have to imagine the doctor was there taking care of the other woman, like the other surgery that he was in, for another 2, 3 hours, and now I have to wait for
Right.
that period of time to then have the baby. So it was quite easy. The doctor came in and in 1 or 2 pushes, the baby was out already, and that was good.
Wow. Well, it must be nice. What does it feel to be one of one of the lucky ones?
Doctor said this is it was very early in the morning. Doctor said, I wish to have this all day, like all my patients would be like this. Like it's easy. I don't know. I think it's just God. That's where I come back to faith. It's just God because trust me, I am the I am the one person that
Mhm.
feels all type of pain.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean, like I like any little thing. I hate injections. I hate like, well, just don't prick me, don't poke me
Mhm.
with anything. You understand? And that is God made it very easy. God knew that this girl, how can I help her? And it came through
And it's just like, here you go, easy label. Just take it.
easily. Just take it and go.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, I want to talk a little bit about some of the resources that helped you during pregnancy and postpartum. I know you talked a lot about like your faith and the support system that you got from your mom. I was also wondering in terms of like things like, having a doula or having um maternal and child health organizations outside of the hospital. Were there like resources that you used during these two stages, and how did you find out about them?
Where I thought of it, but I did not use any. I did not use any because, like I mentioned, I had a friend who is a doctor who, in the US as well. So she was that support. There were a couple of times I saw things online that, oh, use a doula, especially as a black woman, that they would listen to you, they would advocate for you when you can't advocate for yourself, that they could do all of. But I just did not use any. Then like I said, my OB was very supportive as well, and
Right.
I did my own research. I had a lot. I don't know, even using a doula or any resources. I think my family, the resources I got was way too much.
What
That
kind of resource did you get from your family?
it was just the constant, they've all done it before. It was just the constant, like, list of things to do, list of things that you do not do, things like
Yeah.
that. So those are the
Mhm.
resources that you get. Um, my doctor friend there was a time my OB wanted me to use aspirin. I had to like, ask her before even going to get the aspirin. Like, do you think I should use it? After even asking her, I bought the bottle. I still had to like send it to her. Is it this one? At least I was getting like constant, that was like a big resource for me, with her. So she was like that bridge between my hobby, myself, and so I think for me, I did not use any other external resources. Social media also made it very easy, get all
Mhm.
the information you need online. So social media played a vital role.
Mhm.
It's now for you as as a person to be able to sieve out the good and the bad
Right.
from social media because you would get a lot of information. Not everything I would say are good because you need to be able to sieve out the most important information for you, for yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that is it for me. I did not use any other um resources aside from all of this for my baby.
Okay. I've had a lot of mom say social media was very helpful. And some other mothers have talked about how they have these apps, and then on these apps that they use to like track or monitor the baby's progress, they have like community spaces where they can go to and then ask questions as well. But it sounded like you had your friend who's a doctor who was there. It's
Yes.
like, this is my this is my Google.
And you also use the app. So the Flow app actually helped.
Mm-hmm.
Flow app, it helped a whole lot. Number one, it helped with tracking what stage am I at currently. How big is my baby? Is my baby a watermelon today or an avocado? Or so that actually helped. And then it also had a lot of resources of other moms. So when I feel a particular way, sometimes I go on the app to check, different mothers that had gone through that and what they did or how they responded to that and things like that. So the Flow app also helped. I'm so sorry that I forgot to mention that was a
No, it's fine.
somebody mentioned it. Yeah, so I really used the Flow app. Like I was checking, I was going, but that was the only app I used that I was using to track, to even know exactly when my baby would come. It was the
Mm-hmm.
Flow app.
Right.
Even from the beginning of conception, it was Flow app that said, "Oh, today, oh, since you have not logged in, you are pregnant."
Well, shout out to Glow Up for helping women track all these changes that happen. Um, yeah, thank you for sharing those examples. I was also wondering, is there any resource or service you wish you had known about or had access to during pregnancy?
No,
Okay.
there is none. Yeah, yeah. I think I got the best information from the small community, my PCP, my friend, my family back at home, and Flow Up in itself. So, and I also had other friends that had gone through this journey. I had a friend that had a baby in November the previous year. I had another one that had a baby in March. So it was like back
Mhm.
and forth. Oh, did you do this? Did you do that? One or yes, there was a particular time. Hmm. As a Nigerian, this is the difference again that I could actually pinpoint. There are a lot of resources that they give to you. That there are some resources like the NIPT, which is the test that you do to know the gender of your baby, to know if your baby has any genetic genetic outflow that you need to know about and all of that. And I said yes when my OB mentioned that. And I said yes. And when the results came, the results said something like, "Oh, you need a follow up because they were unable to see blah 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 the percentage of blood in your baby, which could mean a disability." Or oh my god, that was the most difficult part of my pregnancy journey because. And then I started asking my friend, "Did you guys do the NIP?" And they all mentioned that you're a Nigerian. Why would you subscribe to? Why would you say yes as a Nigerian?
Really?
I'm serious, like nobody that, and then all the Nigerians I asked that have had a child, they all said no, like never, like don't, even though, just to have that done, because it's for you to know if your child will have any
Hmm.
genetic abnormality or, but as Nigerians, we are too cultural, traditional.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I
Yeah.
don't want to know, like nothing. It is like God, the blood of Jesus is on my child. The Lord gave me this child. Nothing. My
Right.
child has no disability. My child,
Hmm.
understand. And then from that, I said, "Oh my God, why did I ever make a mistake of saying yes?" Because it was and then the follow up to that was almost took about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Do you know you getting a result? Do you know the feelings you get when you get a result that, could turn your world upside down and then you are unable
Yeah, and then you have
to
to wait
talk?
three
Then you have
weeks.
to, that was the most excruciating 3 weeks of my life. Like I just said, no way. If I'm going to have 10 children, I will never have an NIPT done again. Never. I'm Nigerian. I'm full-blooded Nigerian. We don't do this. The Lord protects our children. God protects our children. So no way. And all Nigerians I asked, I'm serious. About five of them, no one, even my friend in Canada, she said never. Like, why would you say yes to, an NIPT? And at the end of it, my baby was perfect. Even I don't know what they said they saw with the blood not.
Hmm.
Probably the baby was just too young, like too small to be able
Hmm.
to detect that. But that was just too excruciating. And that is the difference between us and like culturally speaking, and
Hmm.
an American would definitely subscribe because they would want to know if.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like as Nigerian, I would want to know as well. So I don't blame you for saying yes. And
Yeah.
best friends had a baby. last December, and I know she did the test as well. And I remember we had spoken about it when she did the test, and so I'm very surprised to hear that some
I don't
Nigerians.
want to know. Again, no. They all don't want.
I mean, I get what you want to know, based on your experience. That's very interesting. Thank you so much for flagging that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I want us to move to like our last section for this podcast. I've really enjoyed the conversation. I want to know, looking back, what would you have done differently, if anything, during the perinatal journey? So your pregnancy, having the baby, postpartum, is there anything you'd have done differently?
Um, Maybe I would have actually spoken up sooner when I didn't feel comfortable with my earlier provider. Like I said, I allowed it to go on,
Mm,
but I just, I should just have spoken up earlier. I think that is something that I would have done differently. So I do encourage people to speak up. Once you are not comfortable with some, this is your body, this is your baby. You are the one who know exactly what you did to get pregnant, how long you waited to get pregnant, how protective you want to be as a mother to your child. So speak up. So I think that is something that I would have done differently. And I also learned that it's okay to switch doctors until you find the one that fits. Switch your doctors if you need to. Please speak up.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Advocate for yourself. You can only be your own advocate at the end of the day. And also, if you speak up, it makes the world a difference. Like it makes a world of difference altogether. So just speak up, be able to advocate for yourself. I think that is something that I learned over looking back. I should have spoken up earlier. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And that takes me to my next question. Is there any advice you have for African or Nigerian immigrant moms who are one currently pregnant in the US, or are planning on getting pregnant here in the
I
US?
know one thing that our people like to do is to be that strong woman. We like that. I'm a strong woman. Please and please don't try to do it all alone. There's no award for I'm the strongest woman in the world. Please, pregnancy will pregnancy will shake you. Like it's not a job. It's you building a new life with the help of God. Ask for help if you
Mm-hmm.
need to ask for help. Take your time, ask for help, speak up when you don't try to do it alone. Advocate for
Right.
yourself and trust your instinct. That is one thing that they used to say all the time. Trust your instinct, and also find providers that can listen to you, that makes you feel seen and also respected. It's very, very important because you would have a lot of questions when you're pregnant. You would have a lot of
Oh
questions.
yeah.
You would be like a pest, so you need someone that is ready to listen to you. And also your
Mm,
community and culture, stay connected to that as well. Because they can actually be a good source of strength for you when it feels like, when there's a downtime. So yes,
yeah.
just listen to your
Yeah.
trust your instinct. I think that will do.
Yeah, those are really good advice. I like, how you said there's no award for, being a superwoman, and
So,
pregnancy will actually humble you. And so,
yeah.
definitely ask for help and reach out. And, I feel so lucky that, here in the US, there's like a ton of resources um from the hospital, from like different community-based organizations, like
Yes.
different, depending on what county or what states you live in, like your county or your
Yeah.
state health department has like a bunch of resource in terms of like
Yeah.
physical resource that you might need for the baby and for yourself. And so just definitely speak up, because if you don't,
Yeah.
you probably would not know where to find some of this information. And a lot of times it's through referrals. So I
You're
second
welcome.
that advice. Thank you so much for sharing it. My very final question to you, Elizabeth, is for healthcare providers or for maternal and child health organizations that provide service to African immigrant moms, what advice would you give to them in terms of like,
Yeah.
what they need to know or what they should do better in terms of providing care to people like us?
Yes. So what I would say to them is please listen to your patients, especially immigrant mothers, because sometimes we may not always know how to express what we are feeling. There's always a bit of language barrier, accent barrier, and information like that. So listen attentively. you need to know that we have cultural expectations, cultural differences. So taking the time to understand us and make space for those conversations makes all the difference in the care experience that an immigrant mother would have. So please listen to your immigrant mothers, listen to all mothers in general, but listen more attentively, even beyond what we say, like there are some undertones that we give. The way we ask our questions may be different from the way a local person would ask, a local mother will ask their questions. So please take the time to listen. Don't rush us. I know you have a lot of patience to attend to that day, but please, please, and please. And also give us all the information that we need. All the informations we need should be at our resources. Don't just assume that we know everything. It would be good if you can just provide those information from the onset and then follow up through. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of times with healthcare providers, because even sometimes, when you go see your doctor, there's like a long line of people just waiting outside and they're trying to get through, to every patient. And, sometimes you might have questions and then the response could be, yeah, follow up with the nurse, or like a nurse will come to you and speak to you about that. And so thank you for calling that out. And I just want to say thank you so much for accepting to be a guest on this podcast. I really enjoyed our conversation. I really appreciate how vulnerable and open you've been in sharing your experience. And I hope that, mothers listening to this would learn a thing or two from your experience that could hopefully help them have a positive experience as well. And here's to wishing mothers easy delivery like you had. So
Amen. And thank you so much for inviting me. I'm glad that I'm able to share my experiences. And I also do hope that it helps mothers around the world, not just in the US itself. To pick one or two from everything that we've said. I'm glad to be here. If you need any more information, please feel free to reach out to me. I will always be here to help out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Birthing Beyond Borders. I hope you've learned something new or felt seen in today's conversation. If you're a mom listening today, know that you're doing an incredible job, and as a community, we are so proud of you. Please share this episode with another mom or with a friend who might find it helpful. Remember, you are not alone and you don't need permission to do the things that bring you joy. I'm rooting for you. Goodbye.